Díomh agus fáilte, hello and welcome. It's Misha Amy, the crafty Kylock, and I make content about Irish history, folklore, food and magic. Today I'm going to be talking about weather lore, which is something that was highly requested when I did the video on Mullaun or Little Christmas. Loads of people commented on that video to request a video on this topic, so I'm really happy to be able to present some of the information I gathered on a Dúchas dive. Dúchas, you may have heard me talk about in previous videos, is the website where Ireland's national folklore collection is, and we have a wealth of folklore that was collected on the school's collection back in the 1930s, 1937 to 1939, and that is all digitized and available online to read and browse. So I would highly check that out if you're interested in Irish folklore, in stories, in old cures and some folk magic and lots of other traditions and stuff related to Ireland and life in the 1930s. So without further ado, let's lan our ig. So one of the items or one of the themes that came up when I was doing this Dúchas dive was the moon, and specifically using the moon or looking at the moon to see what the weather was going to be like. I found a lot of reference to using the moon to talk about storms and to see if a storm was coming. So typically a ring would appear around the moon, and depending on how far and away that ring was would tell you how fast or slow the storm would approach. So a couple of different accounts in County Wexford said that either a white chalky kind of outline of the moon or a golden ring around the moon would indicate that a storm was coming. And generally the closer this ring was to the moon, the farther away the storm was, and as the ring expanded out, the storm grew nearer. So if it was very far away, the storm was very near. Also, in observing the night sky, a very starry night was said to be very frosty. Something I've been noticing in the last kind of week or so, it has been very frosty, but also the stars outside have been very clear and very bright. And I live quite near a city, so we don't usually get the stars that bright, but it has been kind of unseasonally frosty, or seasonally frosty if you look at the last 15 or so years in Ireland. But using the moon and looking at the stars was one of the ways that weather would be foretold in Ireland. I'll come back to the sky later, but now I want to talk about birds. So there's various different references to different types of birds and their behaviours to basically foretell when certain types of weather were going to happen. So in County Wexford, it was believed that if a robin came out and sang on the branch of a thorn on a wet morning, the day would clear up. And when the crows were noisy, there would be wind. It's also widely believed and observed that when seabirds come inland, we're expecting very stormy weather. While birds flying high in the sky indicate good weather. One account from Leitrim says that peacocks specifically cry very loudly when the weather's going to be bad, and specifically rainy and stormy. Though I don't know who has peacocks just casually in their back garden. Also a good indicator of storms and rainy weather would be swallows flying low and ducks quacking loudly. And it was also believed that if leaves weren't on the tree before the cuckoo bird got there, then it would be a bad season. Other weather lore talking about different animals said that if a cat was scraping wood in a house, or if the sheep came down into the lowlands, that it would be rainy or stormy weather. This was also true if a cat sat in front of the fire with its back to it, or if dogs ate grass, and when fish jumped out of the water to catch flies. If a pig ran around the farmyard with a mouthful of straw, it would be stormy, and storms could also be foretold a day in advance by observing cows, and if the cows were huddled together in the field under a tree, the next day would be stormy. Other indications of rainy and stormy weather included people with rheumatism and similar complaints observing a worsening of their symptoms with the onset of bad weather. And also it said that healthy people became drowsy. To know if it was going to be good weather outside, you need only observe the smoke out of chimneys, and if it was rising straight up, it was to be good weather, but if it was going off to the side, it was to be bad weather. You might be aware of the poem Red Sky at Night, Shepherd's Delight, Red Sky in the Morning, Shepherd's Warning, and this is found in the Dúchas archives, And so are another couple of regional or local poems and rhymes to help tell when it's going to be good or bad weather. So in County Leitrim specifically, there's a couple of rhymes that I picked out from one account. One of them says, "Fog on a hill, rain for the mill, fog on the hollow, fine day tomorrow." And a variation on "Red sky at night, rainbow at night, shepherd's delight, rainbow in the morning, shepherd's warning." And then to know how long something was going to last, if weather was long foretold, it would long last, and short notice soon passed. Observing the sky, and particularly at sunset or sunrise, was a way that was very often indicative of what type of weather you were going to have. And this was in the days before barometers and meteorological testing. And although Met Éireann do a really good job, Ireland is somewhere where you really can't ever predict the weather. So you could have 4 seasons in a day. Some of the ways you could tell by the sky what the weather was going to be like included: if the sky was grey or pale yellow at sunset, it was going to be rain. If the sky was red in the morning, it was going to be bad weather. If the sky was rosy or pink at sunset, it was going to be fine weather. When the clouds are black though and the atmosphere is heavy, there's going to be thunder. And also looking at the mountains can tell you how the weather is going to be. So if the outlines of the mountains are seen very clearly, there's going to be rain. And if there's a haze over the mountains in the distance, it's going to be warm weather. And finally, back to the birds. According to an account in County Leitrim, if the cock crows 3 times in the morning, it's going to be good weather. So those were some of the weather lore bits that I found in the Dúchas dive. I will leave links in the description below if you'd like to do a Dúchas dive yourself and have a look into some of the weather lore and some of the folklore. Weather lore being a really popular topic in superstition and pishogues in Ireland is something that is very well documented in the school's collection. So again, it's one of those things that has thousands and thousands of entries. So you could literally be there for months looking through all of the different entries. Let me know if there are any folklore topics that you would like me to do a Dúchas dive on. I have lots of ideas, but I also like hearing what you want to see, and I love getting ideas from the comments and from the feedback on the other social media channels. Let me know what you thought in the comments as well. Are there any other rhymes that you have to tell the weather, or are there any superstitions that you have or that you know from Irish folklore, or from your own folklore from wherever you are? I want to take a second to say hello to all of my new subscribers. I haven't done a check-in on subscribers in the last few weeks or the last few videos, but we are now at over 850 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. When I did my 500 subscriber video and Q&A, I didn't actually think, as I said then, I didn't think I would actually even get past 50 subscribers. So that's absolutely amazing. I'm so glad that everyone's enjoying the content. But I'm so glad that everyone is enjoying the content. I'm having a lot of fun making it and researching it and presenting it. And yeah, I'm going to just continue to do this. The channel is nearly 1 year old, so I'm very excited to get to that milestone and to also hit another few milestones as well along the way. As always, if you did like the video, please give it a thumbs up. It just helps boost the channel, boost the video, and also just lets me know that you're liking the content. If you haven't subscribed yet and you would like to subscribe, do hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications so that you're told when new content is coming out. Also, you can check out my other social media channels to keep up to date with videos and other resources that I post over there. As always, all the reference links are in the description below for what I talked about in this video, and there are also extra links that you can check out. So Sinead for me, that is it for me. Gurb míle mágat as chat. Thank you very much for coming. Agus slán go fóill. See you soon.